There is hardly any wind out here today, dudes. So I get to do a video outside. Kind of excited. This doesn't happen all that often. Check this out though. The grass is stuck like this out here. Always ripping. Still a little wind today. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this video today, guys, because I got a few things I want to talk about and I'm going to tie them all together. But basically, I want to share some advice I received a long time ago that I feel is important, and I feel that every survivalist, prepper, leader involved in those groups, individual, should all be focusing on this one thing and basically how to capitalize on it and use it to the betterment of the team. We're also going to talk about lone wolfing it a little bit more and jack of all trades and that kind of stuff. And I'm going to tie it all together. That's my goal, okay? So we'll see if Efficient in the Field can get it done today. And comments down below, guys. It's always a conversation on this channel. You know how it is. I love reading through all y'all's comments. So let's get right after it, dudes. I'm going to start out by telling a story about some advice I got a little over 20 years ago that stuck with me. And I had just gotten out of the service. I'd been out for a few years, and I was starting my first business. And there were some aspects of the business that I just hated. I sucked at it, man. It was like inventory, keeping track of all the billing and all the numbers, you know, and the tax shit. Like, I hated that stuff, man. So I was always falling behind on it, and then just had to spend like an entire grueling day trying to catch up and all that. And I was hanging out with my stepfather, who, if you've been watching my videos, you probably know that he had a pretty big impact on my life in a lot of ways. A lot of the very smart lessons that I've learned, or I should say like the smart quotes that I've taken and applied and I found out were like totally legit, I heard from this guy. He was like a top player in neuro-linguistic programming at the time, successful business owner, successful marketer. You get the idea. And he's one of those people that didn't have their one claim to fame and just stuck with that through their whole life. He was always reaching for new things, just like me and my wife and a lot of the other people I know that are extremely wise. Okay. So anyways, I'm hanging out with him in his backyard, and I was telling him, like, I'm doubling my efforts to get good at all these things that I hate doing and that I suck at. And it wasn't so much that I sucked at it, it's really that I hated it. I hated spending the time. I didn't feel like it was part of the 20% that produced the 80% of results for me, right? The 80-20 rule. And so I didn't want to focus on it. I felt like it was just like a lot of wasted effort. And he looks at me and leans forward. He's like, don't do it then. Pay someone else to do it for you. Focus on what you're good at, son, because that's not what's making you the money. And I went, oh shit, he's right. Sweet. Okay, I'm going to have to go out of pocket and pay somebody else to take care of these things. The business was like just getting started. Wasn't raking in the dough yet, you know. But yeah, I took his advice and I kind of applied that to the rest of my life. I was like, you know what? I don't like doing that shit. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to find somebody else to do it. And I got kids now. I've had kids for a long time, dudes. And a lot of times, me and my wife can look at what we're good at. Like, here's what I'm good at. Here's what she's good at. There's some overlap there. And then here's the shit we both hate doing and we don't want to do. And we're like, is a kid good at it? They're good at it. Bam. If they're not good at it, bam. You want to know why? Because kids have to learn that they're going to have to do shit in the real world as grown-ups that they don't want to do. So it's a good lesson for children, all right, dudes? But as an adult, when you find yourself in a different situation, man, find someone else that's good at it that will do it. And you could apply this to your survival groups, your survival communities. It's going to make you stronger. All right, so let's take a little segue here into the jack of all trades, master of none survivalist mindset. Because that's where a lot of us survivalists are at, right? And when I say survivalists, I'm talking about preppers too, because guess what? You're a survivalist as well. You're just further along in the game, you know what I mean? And if you're neither of the two, guess what? You really are. You just don't know it yet. You're going to have to be a survivalist in the coming years. So you might as well watch the damn video. But there's this perspective that as a survivalist, you have to be a jack of all trades. You got to have your fingers in all these different pies. You got to know how to be a mechanic and how to be a plumber and how to shoot and how to hunt and how to fish and how to forage and how to make fire with like bare minimum shit. And you got to learn all these different things. But is that the truth? Do you really need to be that? Well, if you're planning on lone wolfing it, I'm going to say, yeah, you probably do, because you're putting yourself in a situation where everything is on your back. You can't go over to Joe Blow over here and be like, yo, man, you're better at like mechanical shit than me. The backhoe broke. You know, like, what do I do? It's a little too much for me. It's a little over my head. You can't do that, man. You're stuck doing it all by yourself. So although being a lone wolf can benefit you, let's take another scenario where it can. Let's say that you're the man of a household on like a remote piece of property, much like me out here, okay? I'm the man of the house. I'm married. I got kids. And I am mostly a jack of all trades. That's what I am. And because of that survivalist mindset that like that's what you have to be, it could definitely benefit us out here because I know a little about a lot of things. And I should throw this out there for you, those of you that are jack of all trades and are planning on lone wolfing it, against my advice. Listen, dudes, what you want to do, anything new you're learning or anything you already know, look at the 80-20. What is the 20% of that thing that produces 80% of the results? Memorize that, focus on that, do that. You're going to have more success in more areas if you're specifically thinking about the 80-20 rule and focusing on the 20%, dudes. Okay? And so for those of you that are young men and are trying to learn the jack of all trades deal when it comes to survivalism and prepping, like, that's the trick right there. Just gave you the big secret, man. Focus on the 80-20, the 20% that produces the 80% of results. Let's be real though, dudes. There's a lot of people out there that are not jack of all trades. And guess what? That's just fine. And as a matter of fact, it can actually be a boon to your group. In the aforementioned scenario, the backhoe breaks. Let's say it's over your head. Let's say you know a decent amount about mechanics, but you don't really know anything about hydraulics, and now you got a big hydraulic issue with the backhoe. If you have a member of your team that is a mechanic, they are a specialized person with a specialized focus, guess what? You're going to be in a much better spot. So what you really want when it comes to team makeup is a variety of people that have specialized areas of expertise, and then you want some jack of all trades types thrown in because they can be Johnny on the spot, man. They can get in here because, you know, people are busy doing something else and they can take care of it because they know how to adjust and they've got a lot of knowledge in a lot of different areas. And if you guys can't tell, I talk with my hands a lot, especially if I don't have to hold that old stupid microphone. The patrons got me these new ones, man, and they're awesome. Thanks, dudes. So as an individual, where do you need to be? Well, if you have a specialized area of expertise, that is not going to preclude you from becoming part of a survival or prepping community. Okay, it's not going to do that. And a wise leader, the kind that you want to follow and the kind that's going to lead a group of people well, is the kind of person that's going to notice that and is going to delegate you out to tasks that are going to make sense for you. And it's not like a guy who's a very specialized mechanic can't pull guard duty. You know, even if he can't shoot. Let's talk about that real quick, because a lot of the survivalist and prepper communities are like, yeah, if you can't shoot or you're not shooting, like, you're not welcome here. I say bullshit, dudes. I'm just going to keep it real, man. I'm going to say bullshit. As a matter of fact, we have a person in our group. I'm not going to talk about a lot of specifics, but they don't shoot. They had a bad experience when they were younger. They don't shoot. They won't touch guns. And you know what? That's just fine. And it's fine because they have so much knowledge about other topics that it makes up for that one little drawback. And it's not like we can't put them on guard duty with a set of binoculars and a CB radio. It's not like they can't work in the garden. It's not like they can't dig a new hole because we got to move the outhouse again. It's not like they can't thin the apple trees in the orchard. There's a lot of things that they can do aside from trigger pulling, because really, hopefully, guys, and if you've been smart, your prepping group, by choosing the right location, you shouldn't have to do much of this. That's the whole goal, right? Because this is probably the most dangerous thing that you're going to have to deal with in shit hit the fan, is trigger pulling. Let's get into the leadership portion of this a bit, because if you're going to be a good leader, you need to be able to look at your team of individuals. You need to be able to focus on their strengths, and you need to be able to delegate them out in a way that takes advantage of that. You don't want your mechanic making bread in the fucking house all day long unless, you know, he's got some side hobby and sourdough is like his thing. You know what I mean? No, you find somebody else in the team that's better at making bread, has more experience making bread, boom, that's what you delegate them to. You want him checking over vehicles, generators, making sure everything is good to go, trying to head off any problems before they happen. And so as a leader, what I would really encourage all of you to do is to write up a list of what your members are good at, like their specialties, and tell them what they're going to be doing and shit hit the fan now. Tell them what you expect from them now, because good members of a group will make sure that they knock the dust off of their shit. They'll brush up on it. Now they got some expectations. They're like, okay, like I'm going to be maintaining the vehicles. Here it comes. Got a little microburst there. Hopefully that's it. Or I'll be finishing this thing in the van. Yeah, you want them to know, like, I'm going to be maintaining the vehicles. You know, I'm going to be doing this. I'm going to be doing that. Like, this is what I'm going to be focusing on. And I'm also going to be pulling guard duty in this way. And there's this other expectation for me as well. So it's going to give them a time to brush up on their knowledge. Make sure they go out and check the zero on that rifle and make sure they understand how to compensate for bullet drop at range. Now you've given them an idea of exactly what it is they're going to be doing. And here's the thing, dudes. Guess what? And shit hit the fan, that might have to change on the fly. But you've given them direction and expectations going into it. And as a leader, that's a really, really good thing that you can do for your people. It's your job to be worrying your ass off about everything else, man. Leadership is not a reward. It's not, guys. I've done it a lot. And I will tell you that the moments for me that made it worth it were the rare moments when dudes came to me, either while they still worked for me or usually it was after they'd gone off and been working some other job for a few years, where they came to me and they said that I was the best manager that they've ever had. You know, that's what made it worth it to me. I finally got like a little bit of something back after all the time spent. Now we're going to talk recruitment real quick, because right now, people are ripe for the picking, dudes. So if you're a leader of a group and you need more people, start looking hard and fast. And if you're a lone wolf, but you have leadership ability and you want to start a group, start looking hard and fast. I will tell you guys what, you could feel it in the air that something's going to go down. Like you can cut it with a knife, man. You can feel it. It's there. Just today, I was texting my brother probably like 2 hours ago, and he's the one who's been like, nothing's going to happen, brah. We're good, man. Like, I'm going to get all my losses back on my stocks and da-da-da-da-da. And guess who's right about every forecast? This dude. The only thing that hasn't happened yet that I told him was going to happen was that we're going to go to war with Iran. And guess what? We're right there. So maybe he's starting to listen to his older brother. I don't know. But at any rate, dudes, I was texting him. And I did this to kind of screw with him. I was like, you ready to send a pallet of food out to the ranch in case you and your family have to bug out. And I could feel it in the air, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going like, maybe it's time for me to hit him up and let him know that that's an option again, you know? And he kind of surprised me with his response, but he came back and said that he's been thinking about it. And this is the guy that has been saying for years, nothing's ever going to happen. So dudes, people are doing an about face, man. The tide is turning. The tide has been coming in for a long time, and now it's starting to go out. Now is the time to start recruiting people for your groups. You're going to have people that don't know shit about survival and prepping, that maybe have been a CPA their whole life and don't know shit about how to start a fire out in the woods. But I'll tell you what, fear is a big motivator. There's two things that motivate people the most, and it's pleasure and pain. And guess which one is the bigger motivator? That's right, guys, it's pain. And so these people know that pain is coming. They know they're unprepared. They are going to be motivated to learn these skills. And a guy like that, a CPA or a gal, doesn't matter what it is, they're good at counting things, dudes. They're good at keeping track of shit. Do you think that could benefit a prepper community? You're damn right it can. And with the desire, because of that pain, to learn really, really rapidly, you have them inventory your group shit. I'll tell you what, they're going to be making suggestions on how to change the preps in fairly short order. They're going to say, I don't think we have enough of this. I think we got too much of this. In short order, dudes. So there's a place for a lot of people out there. So fasten your chin strap, man, and stomp on that recruiting accelerator, guys, and get this shit done. You really want to have group members before this goes down. You know what I'm saying, dudes? All right, I think I'm going to wrap the video right there. It doesn't need to be super long. Hopefully it's to the point. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the content. Let me know. Like the video, share it, subscribe, comments down below like always, guys. Always a conversation, comments. And I learn stuff reading the comments just like you guys learn stuff watching the videos. Check out my Patreon, link in the description. I'm on TikTok too. I'm on TikTok as well, if you guys didn't know that. I know a lot of people are like, the Chinese government, man, I'm worried about them. I don't want them like looking at my shit. You should be more worried about the feds than the Chinese government. If you want to check it out, check me out on TikTok. The content is pretty much totally different. All right, dudes, I'll let y'all go. Take care. Get your group in order. I'll see you all in the next video.